Hello, my friends. My name is Harold, and welcome to the Sanctum. In this video, we're going to be talking about karma, the three different kinds of karma, and what can you do to dissolve your own karma or to accelerate the process in which you burn it or dissolve it or transcend it. Yeah. So, first of all, let's define the word karma. Now, oftentimes in the West, people think karma is you do good things happen to you. If you do bad things happen to you. But when in certain cases that may be the case, the word karma in Sanskrit simply means action. Every action that we do has some form of reaction. Right? So karma isn't necessarily only something that one may hear in the East, but it has also been scientifically discovered. If you think about the law of thermodynamics discovered by Isaac Newton, which is every action has an equal and opposite reaction. And that is essentially karma, right? If you were to push a rock, for there to be motion, for that rock to be moved, the rock has to push back onto you. And because your force is higher than the weight of the mass of the rock moves, right? So the rock has to exert that force back onto you, right? So that is that same concept, karma, but it's just being mechanically applied to a physical object. Um, Hence why it's a law in physics. Whereas karma applies to everything. Simply having a thought is an action. Right? Even though if you say you're having a thought about punching somebody in the face, that's creating karma. Of course, you didn't actually do it, but simply having the thought energetically will influence the person, right? Especially if you had that strong intent and actually had that emotion, maybe the person might bump their toe or something, right? And it'll have an effect on the person. And because you did that, there has to be a reaction of of some kind. Although it's not instant, like pushing a rock, it's instant because it's a physical thing. But because it is more mental in nature, it might take some time to come back, right? And maybe you'll knock your foot somewhere, for example. This is just hypothetically speaking, just to explain the concept that even in terms of using your mind, you can create karma. Right? So now everything that you're living right now is the cause of an effect, or more like an effect of a cause, right? So for you to get here, there was something that you did previously that was the cause that led you to this effect. So that is why it's often known in hermetics as the law of cause and effect. Right? Your entire life is the effect of a cause. So in the yogic school of thought, there are three types of karma. So the first type is called sanchit or sanchitta, which means the totality of karma or the warehouse of karma, the totality of action that you've done. Now, this is over a period of incarnations. So, the warehouse of karma, the totality of karma one has acquired over a certain period of time. That's the sanchit. Now, from there, that's the first type. From there, a portion can be taken and brought into an incarnation. That's called the prarabdha, a portion of that total karma that one may bring in to work through in an incarnation. Right? So that's the prarabdha. Now, and the third kind is what we call the agami. Now, that is the karma that you're creating right now by living and by existing and doing things, you are also creating karma. And that karma that you create is called agami. And that particular karma is being added on to the prarabdha that you need to work through. And anything that you haven't worked through gets added on to the sanchitta, which is the totality, the warehouse of karma. So these are the three kinds. Now, how do we dissolve this karma or accelerate the process of actually creating karma, or tap into the warehouse of karma and begin dissolving the karma from there too? First of all, certain first of all spiritual practice does this naturally, but also certain kinds of spiritual practice can accelerate the process of the dissolution of karma, right? And the first and foremost, and probably arguably one of the most powerful, is the practice of Kriya Yoga. Right? The word Kriya is the opposite of the word karma. If karma means action, Kriya means action with awareness. Yeah. So if one is aware that they're creating karma in a certain sense, the karma begins to dissolve because you're aware of that particular action. But also, kriyas are certain practices, they work with the internal energies of the body to, first of all, dissolve the karma that one has created. It burns karma, so kriyas burn karma. Now, what happens is usually when people start practicing Kriya Yoga, they start to dissolve the karma, but somehow more karma from the sanchita starts to get poured in to the prarabdha. So it accelerates the process of spiritual development because the person starts to burn karma, but as the tank begins to become low, more karma from the warehouse is added on. But then the good thing is the sanchita is being dissolved in that way, thereby accelerating the process. So that's one thing, is doing kriya practice. The next thing is actually practicing karma yoga. Right? The karma yoga is a way of being aware of what thoughts you're creating. Right? I will create an entire series on different types of yoga, but just in a nutshell, it's becoming aware of what, first of all, what your physical body is doing. So therefore, the physical karma that you're creating, what your energies are doing, so the energetic karma that you're doing, and the mental karma. What are you actually thinking? Now, if you're sometimes there are individuals who are not aware of what they're actually thinking, and they're always thinking about they might get angry with somebody, and then just continuously think about throwing darts at their face or something. So now that is having an effect on the actual person, especially if you do it with that intention. Energetically, it's having an effect. It's very little compared to actually physically doing it, but it's still having an effect. So you're still creating karma in that way. So if you're becoming aware of that and you put an end to that, and it's like, oh, I understand, I can see I'm doing that. I'm going to stop that right now and allow myself to, forgive and let go of that and work through the anger. Um, and that can help in the release of that and the reduction of the creation of agami. So, like that, karma yoga can be done. And the next thing is purification practices. Now, there are all sorts of purification practices. Every tradition has purification practices. And purification practices start to cleanse, little by little, cleanse all of that karma that one has created over a certain period of time. So I'll go into detail in terms of certain practices or simple practices anyone can do um, in future videos. But this is an example of some of the practices that you can do to start dissolving karma. But as if we have a body and if we are alive right now, we are creating karma. Such is the nature of existence. For us to be even bound into this physical body, karma needs to happen. If because it's also seen as a viscous goo. Anything you touch sticks onto you like glue. Right? So in the same way, anything that we touch, any person that we meet, anything that we do is creating it. People get confused with this idea of good and bad karma. Good and bad is a human made concept. It's karma. Any action you do has something, right? Has some form of effect. How you perceive it is whether it's considered good or bad. Yeah. So I hope this all makes sense. And I hope you enjoy this video. Please give it a thumbs up and share it with all your friends and subscribe. And I hope to see you again soon. Thank you.